All right, you guys ready to rock and roll?
Fucking hey, man.
Is Born ready? This isn't going to be like the commentary over there at Silver Lake Country Club.
I understand.
That was classic shit, dude.
Pappy Slappy coming up on the 18th green here. He wins best outfit of the day, but not a very good approach shot.
At all.
Dude, that stuff. Gretchen and I were laughing our ass off.
I mean, I'm like,
That was classic
yes,
stuff.
that was good stuff that day.
All right, here we are on the 1372 show, the QB and the OG, Jim Ballard, TJ Downing, joined by Doug Green, owner of the Cigar Lodge here at 2989 South Main Street, right around the corner from Firestone Country Club. You're a member over there. You're a longtime golfer. Talk about the track over there. I believe your building backs up to the 13th fairway.
Yeah, kind of the, we're about a quarter of a mile, maybe an eighth of a mile from Firestone Country Club. And the nice thing is that with Firestone being as prestigious as it is, we had to make sure that we built a place that often reveled or looked like the inside of Firestone. And you know what? It's really made a big difference in our life. And one of the nice things here is being that we were a member at Firestone, we knew that golf was going to be a big part of our Cigar Lodge, along with a lot of other activities. And so we actually went out and bought ourselves a $35,000 golf simulator that actually has Firestone Country Club on it. So
Nice.
What you can do when you're here is you come on down this way, and we let you actually feel like you're playing Firestone Country Club.
Yeah, it certainly is, man. And you got the massage chairs, you got all the TVs, you got the great selection of bourbons and whiskeys, of course, and the cigars, and the people here always take such good care of us. We love coming in here every time. You know, when TJ and I were first kicking this podcast off over at the Hall of Fame, you know, I see John Randall and guys like that. I'm like, man, you got to go to the Cigar Lodge, and talk about some of the guys that have come in here and
Yeah,
spent some time
you know
with
what?
you.
It's so nice because being as close as we are to the Hall of Fame and with Firestone, we really do get some special people that venture in this way. Some of the great ones, obviously Mr. Jim Tressel, who still visits us quite a bit, comes in. He still buys the cigars, and the old ball coach.
I got those jerseys back there dirty for him.
I saw that.
They cleaned up really well afterwards.
I saw that. I saw that. Some of the when Anthony Munoz is in town, he stops up. The only Cincinnati Bengal that's made the Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you what, I have never in my life. I just recognized him. Obviously, he's a skinny guy in today's world. But I'll tell you what, I've never seen a nicer, more humble human being than Mr. Munoz. And, you know, those are the kind of special things. We also have great people like Ken Griffey Jr. has visited us here when they come into Firestone. This is an extension and kind of makes that there. Mr. Ed Reed from the Baltimore Ravens, who's in the Hall of Fame. We have Ron Harper, who's quite a frequenter here. Ronnie.
The sun was on the tube tonight.
Yep, that's it. And so, you know, it goes on and on and on. Not only do we have famous sports people, but just great people from the city of Akron, Canton, and surrounding areas. We have made a special place here that's different. Even though we smoke cigars and we do bourbons, it's really more of a
Nothing wrong with that.
social club that people come in here, and we all have that in common. But it's really the friendships that are met that makes this place what
See,
it
I would
is.
have a tough time though if I was sitting here with Ken Griffey and I was kind of consuming some of the spirits and everything. I'd be like, "Yo, man, you got to get up there. We got to see the swing."
Right.
I mean, that just
right.
and then just holding it.
One of the prettiest swings
Did you get
ever.
him to do that?
You know, I did not, but I'll tell you what.
You didn't want to fanboy out on him too
well,
hard, right?
it was beyond kind because we did send out a little text to our members. That's one of the great things is when you're a member here, you truly are family. If something happens our way, we give it back. And I had asked Mr. Griffey if it was possible to send out a quick text to our members. It was only going to be a short 45 minutes to an hour. He was here, so a lot of people couldn't make it. But he allowed us to send a text out. And
that's awesome.
we must have had 70 people come running down here that are members, and it made their days. They brought their children. He signed autographs. He took care of people. And I tell you what, that was a special day, evening for us. And what a class act, just first class.
Okay, so here at 2989 South Main Street in Akron, what do people need to know about the hours of operation, how they can go about signing up and becoming a member? Give us all the details, numbers, what they would have to do to make that process happen.
So the best part is this is open to the general public, and that's one of the big things that we want to make sure. We welcome 100% of the people. If you need to come in, get a cigar, get a bourbon, we have plenty of places that you can watch one of our 30 TVs. The nice thing is our pride and joy is our main TV is 10 feet by 15 feet.
Just had Irvin FRYAR up there,
right.
man.
Most people think a TV's in inches. We think of it as in feet. So it's a special place to watch all these great sports activities. So obviously we're open to the general public, but we do have 300 special people that we take care of, and we call them our members, as both of you two are. And what's great is a member gives us $50 a month. That's just like any country club. We need a little bit of revenue to help us with the everyday expenses that are incurred by a huge building and this kind of atmosphere. And we give all that money back to the member by the end of the month, because we give them wholesale pricing on cigars, and they get 20% off. So, it's kind of one of those things that we think of our members as our business partners. And so at the end of the day, those people help us, because what we do is when they bring their guests with them, their job is to bring friends and stuff like that in to experience this great club. And when they do that, obviously that's helps us create more revenue. And really, this is a true country club. It's a country club, except instead of having a 18-hole golf course, we have a golf simulator, but we're a lot cheaper than a golf course.
Talk about the food element too. I know you have the building across the driveway as well, and you also have the patio that just got finished. I know you got your grill out there and stuff like that, and that you guys will cook out here.
We're always expanding. The nice thing is we've bought property surrounding the place. We keep growing every day. And obviously, as we keep growing our membership, we keep adding on things. One of the nice things is for food, we let people do Uber Eats and things like that. I always realize in today's world, I don't need you to eat my pizza. There's 80 other places around. Go order your own, bring it in. So it's a place that you can literally come hungry. We'll feed you. We'll get some Uber Eats. We'll send it down this way. But it's just a family. The place looks like a family club. It is a family club. Voted by one of the magazines as the #1 cigar shop in the state of Ohio.
Nice.
And we really have appreciated that. And, we just are constantly growing. And it's great people like you guys that come in here like tonight that make this place what it is. You both have sat here and had cigars and bourbon. You both are members here. And it just makes a great location, because we're halfway between Akron, we're halfway between Canton, and it just makes that synergy just work great.
A little bit further for you, partner, but it's only about 17 minutes from my house. I love coming down here, and as you said, man, I came in here for the first time and met a high school buddy of mine, Brian Frank, that we ended up getting a locker. And I walked in, I'm like, I was pissed off because I hadn't been here before. It was like, how many years have I could have been sipping on your bourbons and watching games in here? I mean, it's just such a cool place to be.
This is a grown-ups clubhouse.
It is something
like back in the day, you're playing Pirates and up in a tree house.
Is this the He-Man Woman Haters Club? I mean, we do have wives in here. We've expanded a little bit. This is
the best part of this is literally we have what started as a bourbon and cigar club really has transformed into a family. I mean, we have live music, live jazz nights. We bring in Frank Sinatra singers. It truly acts like a speakeasy of today's modern speakeasies. When you have a beautiful lady singing Frank Sinatra and the wives are here, it just makes it so much more. A lot of people think cigar lodge, men only. And it's just not that. When we do our events, we make sure that we gear it towards.
Well,
and it is, because guess what? If the wife buys into it, you're able to come a heck of a lot more.
Right. And to even take that a little bit further, just to give an example, one of our partners at the 1372 show, C.H. Vallis and Associates, Chris Vallis comes up here, and he brings his wife Danielle, and they go back and they sit in the massage chairs, and they have a couple cocktails, and they smoke a cigar together. So why can't it be an experience that you can share with your significant other? I mean,
Chris has been one of our great partners here since day one. He has a great, he has a locker here. His father comes with him. And you know what? It's designed to be a special place. It's designed to not come to probably every single day. But when you do come, you're going to be treated as if you just walked into the Marriott. And, our customer service, I'd like to think, is
it's
second to none.
It really is. And that was the one thing that I noticed. It's like, hey, what can I get you? What are you thinking about? Or, what's your palate? What are you in the mood for? Or is it a bourbon? Is it a whiskey? Is it a vodka? Here's our selection of cigars. Can I walk you back? And, what kind of cigars do you want? Is it Honduran? Is it, is it going to be a Macanudo or whatever it is? The selection is outstanding. The people are so accommodating. And and you hit it on the head. We love coming in here, and I mean, we've got a great turnout tonight, and you know,
Well,
every time we come in here.
and this isn't your first rodeo either. You know, we're family. You know, I'm married to your cousin, and will be your second cousin, your first cousin, Roger Bettis, my father-in-law. You know, he'd tell me, he goes,
We call you my second cousin-in-law.
Yeah. He said Doug's the ultimate entrepreneur. You know, you had the Red Fox over there in your old stomping grounds over at the Falls, and you know, I was just watching earlier. I mean, nobody works the house like my man over here. You know, and that's special because people want that. You know, when they come into a place, like you're going to bring in a special element. Hey, we got a special thing we're going to do here on Thursday night. Come out here and hang out and see something. Again, you get the award and the recognition of being one of the best in the state of Ohio, and that's saying something because of all the joints that we have around here in the state of Ohio and in some of your larger cities. But you know, for what you're doing for your clientele, you know, you're providing a special thing to them that they might not see at the normal place.
Well, when you have a PGA #1 golf course in the state of Ohio, and you like to think that you're an extension of that because you're only an eighth of a mile away, there's an image and a style that we got to make sure that we uphold to represent that. And there's very distinguished people that drive by here every single day in many aspects, and you know, this is a place that we wanted to make sure we were remodeling, and the inside was going to resemble that image. And you know what, the customer base here is 100% of the greatest people that I can even fathom. I can't even imagine how lucky I am. So when you say I work the room, it's not so much work in the room, and I'm honored that you thought that, but it's more about going up to my business partners. I think of my 300 members as my true business partners.
Yeah.
Without them, they are not bringing their guests. They're not making this their club. And, you know, for a small little fee, they buy into the idea that this is their place. They get their own keys to the building. We trust in them. They can come in from 7 a.m. They got to leave by 1 a.m. Because what good's Monday Night Football if I close at 10 o'clock? Right. No one wants to leave at halftime. So my members, I believe in them. They believe in me. And I'm looking for 300 of the greatest people between Akron, Canton, Cleveland.
Over to Youngstown. Coach Tress, you're talking about him. Okay, so I need you to help me with something here, okay? So I'll give you a little football story since you got football going on everywhere. We got the Buckeyes coming up here on Saturday. You got
Mount
the game,
Union kicking off the D3 playoffs.
You got the Falcons and the Patriots playing tonight. All right, so back in the day when I played for Tress down at Ohio State, he had a saying. He would tell us before, after every game, okay, contact your loved ones, worship somewhere tomorrow on Sunday, and remember who you are. Now, in accordance with those, it was always nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. So I need you to get him here at least at like 10:01 one time because he used to screw with me so bad. He'd be like, TJ, nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. And I was like, Tress, if you'd have been where I was last night at about 12:30, I don't know. I don't know. We were having a pretty good time, but we're in the locker room. And it's looking like we're going to potentially, with whatever happens here, we'll get a prediction from you in a second with Michigan State and Ohio State, but that Ohio State and Michigan, if they both handle their business, Michigan most likely will. Ohio State's going to have a harder test, but they are going to face off and maybe be like a 4-5, 4-6 matchup in the country. My senior year, we were 1-2. So after we beat them, we're in the locker room. Tress gets up, ready to do a speech. Mind you, Anthony Gonzalez, who's now a congressman, Kirk Barton, myself, we all got together the Monday before that game. We said, listen, we knew that this was going to happen, but now let's put our money where our mouth is because we're expecting to win. So Anthony said, I'm bringing 100 Monte Cristos and Cohibas for the locker room for after the game. Kirk said, all right, I'm going to get the big 32-glass bottles of Dom Perignon to bring in for the locker room. I said, all right, I'm getting 3 stretch Hummer limos to pick us up outside of the horseshoe after the game, and we're rolling out, and it's going to be the greatest party in fucking history. Sorry for the F word, but it was. And it ended up being that. I can't tell you about everything that was consumed and everything that happened that night, but I may have pulled a fire alarm at a hotel in downtown Columbus, was running around like a goddamn King Kong climbing off buildings down there. So we're in there.
Frank the Tank.
We're in there in the locker room, and we just had the Fiesta Bowl come in. They said, we want to extend the invitation to the national championship game. Accepted. Here comes the Big Ten commissioner, Delaney. Here's the outright Big Ten championship trophy, and I'm over here like kissing on it, right? And Tress goes, contact your loved ones, worship somewhere tomorrow. And by the time he said, all you hear was, boop, and here goes a cork flying, and everybody looks over, and Barton's got foam running down his face, and Tress is like, he's just like a disappointed father. Like, I thought I taught you. I didn't even get out, remember who you are, and you're already over here slapping $600 bottles of Dom Perignon off your face like a goddamn heathen. So can you please get him here at like 10:01 one night just so I can screw with him?
Right. That's pretty good stuff.
All right, man. So listen, Michigan State, Ohio State, big matchup. Ohio State's got to get it done to stay in that top 4. Michigan State kind of disrespected getting put behind Michigan after Michigan had lost in that head-to-head matchup. Cincinnati's sitting there at the 5 spot like, yo, what else do we got to do? We beat Notre Dame. I know we play maybe some lesser opponents throughout our conference, but how do you see things shaking out on Saturday between Michigan State and Ohio State? Going to be a tough matchup. And what do you think happens with, sticking to the state of Ohio, a team like Cincinnati who, if they finish undefeated, don't they deserve a shot to play for the national title?
Well, there's the age-long question. It's way better to do it on the field than in a locker room or in a conference room to figure out who's better than who. Right. All I can say is this, is that, as deserving as Cincinnati is, we as fans just through the years haven't worshipped a Cincinnati Bearcat team. It's not something like we do as fans of Ohio State or Notre Dame or Alabama, whoever your favorite team is. So Cincinnati's one of those up-and-coming schools. The problem lies is that, is it fair? Let's just say that Akron U was undefeated. Just because they're undefeated, yes, the caliber of teams.
Doesn't mean you deserve to get a shot at Bama or Ohio State.
Correct.
Like that.
And also, this is still about the ultimate thing, which is called revenue and who's going to watch TV and who's going to watch the games and things like that. And, the top 4 teams is supposed to be the top 4 teams. And, I mean, if you look at where Ohio State has come since that upset by Oregon, they're looking like a way better, definitely top 4 team in America.
So give me, based on going into this weekend and all the things they're going to do shaping up, fast forward ahead a little bit, get in that Cigar Lodge crystal ball of yours, tell me, predict for me the Final 4 going into the college playoffs. Who do you got number 1?
Okay, so it's very simple. Does Georgia beat Alabama? Or does Alabama beat Georgia? So let's just assume
Georgia typically chokes.
Okay, so under those pretenses, you're going to simply have Alabama is going to go to number 1, and I think you'll keep Georgia at number 2,
unless Alabama kicks Georgia's ass, and then you got an undefeated.
But I have a hard
Cincinnati
time thinking
team.
There's a kick ass. I'm probably not going to see them taking Georgia, who lost to the number 2 team, out of the top 4, because how could you put a number whatever in there? I mean, at the end of the day, I just don't see that. First of all, Oregon, even though they beat Ohio State early, their competition in the Pac-12 is just not there, and what they're doing is they're basing Oregon over Ohio State due to the fact they beat each other. But now with everyone with 1 loss, you got to consider, okay, now Oregon is you got to take that 1 loss and look at it against Alabama and Georgia, not just Ohio State anymore. So where does Oregon fall in that system? And at the end of the day, Georgia and Alabama are just still better than Oregon.
Who do you got for top 4?
So my top 4 would be, in the event Alabama were to lose, they're out of the top 4. So then at that point in time, if Alabama were to lose with 2 losses, I'm going to go Georgia 1. That means they'd be undefeated. Number 2, at that point in time, assuming everybody continues to win as it is, I got Alabama 1. I'm going to go ahead and put, at that point in time, only due to the fact that they have beat Ohio State, I'm going to have to go and put Oregon at number 2. Then I'm going to have to go ahead and put Ohio State at 3. And then I'm going to jump in there, Cincinnati at number 4.
Ooh,
I like it. I like it.
I would love to see that.
I would too. I mean, you gotta like what Coach Fickle's doing down in Cincinnati. I mean, he's done a heck of a job. He took over the Ohio State program when he's righted the ship. He's done a great job recruiting. I think they sneak in, and I don't think they sneak in. I think they earn their way in the top 4 this year. I believe this is the second time they've been 10-0. They're playing at a high level right now, and I don't see them losing.
I got you. So, so the nice thing is That's a very unique thing to even think that Oregon could jump to number 2. But, you know, at the end of the day, that gets everybody in. And if you're number 2 or number 3, it just doesn't matter 2 versus 3 because they're going to play each other. So wherever you put, if you put Ohio State at 2 and Oregon at 3, or you put Oregon at 2 and 3, that's going to be the game. What a great rematch that would be, huh? And then you'd really find out.
I mean, but when you talk about building revenue or generating revenue based off of a matchup, can you imagine what the state of Ohio would be like? And I'll mind you, back in 2002, when we won the national championship, that was the jersey that I had for that game. Cincinnati almost beat us in like week 2 or week 3 down there in Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Could you imagine how the state of Ohio would be on fire if Cincinnati and Ohio State were to match up in the top 4 somewhere?
And that would be great. The only thing is, for that to occur, you're
a lot of stuff has to happen.
Well, it has to be 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 1 and 4. So it has to be 2 and 3, and you have to think, okay, let's just assume Oregon loses, and you get them out of there. That might put Ohio State at 2. You might take an undefeated Cincinnati at 3. And now you're arguing who 4 is. If Oregon were to lose, they're out of there. And now you're probably putting Alabama with 2 losses. So now you got Georgia, Alabama, Cincinnati, Ohio State. Let the fireworks begin.
Or just keep it like you said it. Georgia ends up playing Cincinnati. Cincinnati beats Georgia. Ohio State beats Oregon. And Cincinnati and Ohio State play for the national title.
And all Ohio.
Come on now. Right here at the Cigar Lodge,
and
special party. We're playing it right now.
We'll make sure Ken Griffey Jr. and Anthony Munoz represent Cincinnati here, and we'll bring you in and maybe Tressel in, and we'll have an Ohio State versus Cincinnati showdown there.
Love it, man. Hey, we appreciate you having us up here. Special shout out to you. You know, you helped us out providing some cigars for some of our guys. One of the guys we just had on the show here recently, Billy Shaw. Funny little stat for you, Billy Shaw. The only player, you talked about Anthony Munoz, the only Bengal in the Hall of Fame. Billy Shaw is the only player in the Hall of Fame to have never played a down in the NFL.
Really?
Played all of his years in the AFL, and everybody else from the AFL, when they merged, all ended up playing at least a down in the NFL. Billy Shaw was the only guy not to that got inducted to the Hall of Fame. We had him on. He enjoyed some of your fine cigars when we had him over there at the Holiday Inn talking to him. We appreciate that, man. We appreciate everything you did out there at Silver Lake Country Club. I know Frank Stams and Jim appreciated everything you put on for us, and obviously being up here tonight live at 2989 South Main Street, right around the corner from Firestone Country Club. Man, it's an amazing spot. We appreciate you, man, and if anybody's out there listening, when they do listen, make sure you stop out at this place.
Yeah, that really means a lot. You guys are very accommodating and special that you guys find time to come out tonight. And just like anything else, this is a family atmosphere. Everybody here is part of this place, and you guys just fit right in. And it's just a special, humbling experience to be part of all this.
Doug Green joining us on the 1372 show, the QB and the OG. More coming up after this.
At C.H. Vallis & Associates, we've been proudly serving the greater Stark County community for over 78 years. Locally owned, we cover your home, auto, business, and life insurance along with your group benefits. Our partnership with auto owners has allowed us to span not only Ohio, but throughout the entire country. Did you know that Auto Owners, an A++ rated company by AM Best and a Fortune 500 company, has ranked C.H. Vallis & Associates a top 10 insurance agency in the state of Ohio? From your basic home and auto needs to insuring some of the largest companies in America, there's a reason people choose C.H. Vallis & Associates and Auto Owners. Our dedication and passion for our clients and their coverage is part of our commitment to excellence. For all your insurance coverage needs, there's only one call to make, and that's C.H. Vallis & Associates, located at 1302 South Main Street in North Canton. Contact us at 330-494-2776 today and see the difference in customer satisfaction.
1372 show live inside of the Cigar Lodge at 2989 South Main Street, right here next to Firestone Country Club. 1372 show, the QB and the OG. QB number 1 in the house, Jim Ballard, the College Football Hall of Famer. I'm TJ Downing, and we're joined by 17-year NFL vet Irving FRYAR. I know you and Jim had a chance to catch up last week playing a little golf, man.
Well, wait a minute.
I
need to get something straight here. You said the QB and the OG.
QB and the OG.
Okay. Now, I've been called OG before. Now, does OG stand for original gangster, or does it stand for old guy?
original gangster and offensive guard. I'm the protection in the house,
He's
man.
a young buck, man. He's in his 30s, Irv. He's a
He's
young
in this.
buck.
What? Oh my gosh.
Listen, I was going to save this for a little bit, man, but I was just going to tell you when you were coming out of Nebraska, I was just coming out the womb in '84.
Well, you're right. If you're in your 30s, you're right, because I'm in my 50s, my late 50s. I'll be 50. I'll be 60 next year. This time next year, I'll be 60 years old.
Man, listen to this. My man pumped out 50 diamond push-ups on the golf course. So that 59 or 60 or whatever that number is just a number, man. He got down, he started knocking them out. I'm like, man,
you ain't playing, man. I mean, they used to hype up Jerry Rice in his workout routine, man. I don't know. Are you giving him some competition here?
No, it was just a little bit of a challenge to first of all, it was a difficult putt. There was no way I was going to make that putt in 2 strokes because it was up a hill and down the hill. So this young cat that was with us, I forget what his name was. Jim knows who he is. He said, well, I'm going to challenge you, 10 push-ups. Did he say 10 push-ups or was it 20? Well, 10, I think he said 10 push-ups. If you make that putt in 2 strokes. And I knew I wasn't going to make it in 2 strokes because when I putted it and went up the hill and down and then went past the hole about 20 feet. So
it was a 50-foot snake, man.
Yeah, it was a 50-foot snake. Exactly. So just to show the young cat, the old man still has it. Instead of doing 10, I did 50.
Let's do a little career talk with you real quick, man.
All right.
Nebraska. I know that's your that's your jam, man. Going back to the college days, how do you feel that they're doing right now, progressing since they've gotten into the Big Ten? What do you expect from them on the horizon? Because you played for them back in the Power days, and then it kind of faded away there for a little bit.
It didn't fade; it went away.
Do you like Coach Frost and what he's doing there? Do you think he can get it back on track?
Well, I hope that he can, because it's painful to watch, the school not dominate, particularly the football team, not dominate the way we used to and the way people were accustomed to the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers dominating. Now, I think a part of the issue when it comes to the University of Nebraska is the perception of the athletes, the perception that they have of the school, meaning, back when I was there, we ran the ball. That was old school football, smash mouth football. But I believe, when you look at these kind of athletes that are coming out now, the kind of offenses and defenses that colleges are running now that just are simply in football, it's a pass friendly type of offense at that level. And a lot of kids who are the prolific type receivers, who are the prolific type quarterbacks, they're not going to choose the University of Nebraska to go and to play football because they don't see the University of Nebraska. Their perception of the school is not a school that's going to throw the ball. So they don't get the prolific type wide receivers. They don't get the prolific type defensive backs or the prolific type quarterbacks because the perception of the school is they're going to hand the ball off and run it. They're going to smash mouth. So they have to do something to change how people see the football program and how the football program operates and what they do, the concept that they have, particularly offensively. They have to change that in order for the school to get the type of athletes they need to keep up with the rest of these teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Or the Pac. Yeah.
Can you imagine? We're talking about the changing of the offenses, and Nebraska is a more of a run school. But
And you can't do that. You can't do that now.
With your skill set, can you imagine playing in offenses with all the RPOs and all the layups and the spot routes and the bubbles and correct me if I'm wrong. When you started your career, were you still getting down to the 3-point on the end?
I was in a 3-point stance at the University of Nebraska, and that's in college. Yes, I was 3-point stance when we split out, like I was going to run a 40 or something.
Exactly.
but that was really one of the tricky parts. I could say one of the tricky parts of me going from, because when I was at the University of Nebraska, I was a wingback, and I was drafted as a wide receiver, obviously. So I played, I was kind of both, but not really a wide receiver at the University of Nebraska. So when I went to New England, what was tricky for me was learning. I had to learn how to be a wide receiver because I really wasn't a wide receiver with regards to learning routes and running routes and gaining leverage and stacking guys, all of that stuff. I didn't know, I didn't know how to do all of that. So my first 2 or 3 years in at New England was basically just using all of my athletic ability. I really had no skills with regards to like some of these guys that come out now that come from Alabama, like down here in Philadelphia, Devontae Smith. I mean, he's a professional wide receiver before he ever came into the NFL, before he ever got drafted, he knew about the nuances of how to run routes and how to stack guys, how to leverage a guy, how to make a guy or manipulate him to a point where you make him turn the way you want him to turn. He had all of that in his bag of tricks before he ever was drafted. I didn't have any of that.
All the splits too, and being able to stem your routes, and lining up in four different spots, and still being able to run the same exact route, but to a DB, it looks completely different.
Exactly.
You over here talking about leverage on Vontae Smith, man. He was putting some serious leverage on my Ohio State Buckeyes last year in that national championship. They had linebackers trying to cover him, and I seen him wheels spinning over there when he was talking about RPOs and layups. He's like, man, I had like 12, 13,000 yards in the league. Man, I'm going to hit that 20,000 number with all that stuff going on with the QBs. But hey, when you got into the league, though, and you talk about being ready and having to learn, I believe it would have been your second year. You probably went against the greatest defense ever assembled in football in the Super Bowl. You scored the only touchdown in that game, right?
Yeah, that wasn't easy though. Yeah, the Bears were tough that year. I mean, their defense probably was one of the greatest defenses of all time. I really don't think, based on, and when you go back and look at that game, I didn't realize we played so bad. I mean, it was almost like a Murphy's Law kind of thing. We had fumbles and people dropping balls, interceptions dropped. The quarterback was throwing interceptions, things that just were not characteristic of us, particularly in our run as a wild card through the playoffs into the Super Bowl. So that was really not a great effort on our part. But at the same time, the Bears had something to do with that because they were a great team. So were you
guys peaking coming out of the AFC Championship game, and then that 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl? I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's some dudes out there saying, okay, yeah, we're about to face off with maybe the greatest defense of all time. I mean, was the confidence at an all-time high coming out of that AFC Championship game?
Well, yeah, we felt like we could beat anybody because we had, we played 3 games on the road. Like I said, as a wild card entry into the playoffs, we went and played 3 games on the road and won them on formidable teams. So, yeah, we had all the confidence in the world, and we believed that we were going to win that game. But when the game started, obviously things went downhill. But hats off to the Bears. They're a great team.
Do you know, has that been replicated since you guys did that in '85? Has there been a wild card team that came in, did 3 road games to make it to the Super Bowl?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think anybody has done that. Obviously, there's been some wild card teams that have won a couple of games, but I don't think since then there's been a wild card team that's gone to the Super Bowl.
When you look back at that game, and we've all played numerous games and lined up against teams we thought we were going to beat, when you look back, was that Bears team one of those teams that you're like, man, if we played them 10 times, they're probably going to beat us 9? Or would it turn out different? What do you think on that?
Actually, I don't think that. Particularly, like I said, when I go back, I happen to be watching TV and flicking through the channels maybe about a year ago, and that game popped up, and I sat and I watched it with my brother-in-law, and there were some things that I forgot about that happened in that game. Like I said, the ball just did not bounce our way. There were things that we were doing that were happening with us, fumbles and interceptions and things like that. The ball fumbling, bouncing out of a guy's hands or getting knocked him out of the running back's hands. We didn't do things like that. Stuff like that we didn't play like that. And just a lot of things like that happened in the game against the Bears. So I think if we had an opportunity to play them again, I think it would have been a different turnout. Maybe they would have beat us, but it would not have been at that time the worst beatdown in Super Bowl history. It's not the worst beatdown now, but at that time it was.
When we had just a few weeks back, Mike Ken joined us on the show. 17 years in the league, was your guys' NFLPA president for a long time during your career, and we actually teasing with him. He said, we got beat by the Bears like 36-0 the week before. They almost got beat by the Dolphins. He's like, so we softened them up, but he's like, yeah, it was the real deal, trying to block down on those guys. But 17 years in the league for him in the trenches, 17 years for you. You even took some time off towards the end of your career and then came back and did another 2 years. What do you attribute your longevity to?
Stupidity. There's a thin line between being stupid and being tough. And there are a lot of times that I was on the field playing that I should not have been on the field playing. I thought I was being tough. I mean, it was just a different mindset. And I really didn't take a whole season off. It was just, I had decided to retire because certain things were going on with the Eagles. And during that off season, the Washington Redskins at the time, that's what their name was, they came and they made me an offer. So I really just had an off season off, like it was in between seasons. So I really didn't miss a season. But I just, what really happened with me was I was not necessarily a guy who grew up wanting to play professional football. That wasn't a dream of mine. I got the opportunity to go to college on a scholarship, a football scholarship. So my mother persuaded me to go to college. When I graduated from high school, man, I was done with school. I didn't want to have anything to do with any more school. And no one in my family had ever been to college. So my mother convinced me to go to college. I wanted to go into the service. I wanted to go in the Marines. I wanted to fly jets off of aircraft carriers. Yes, that was going to require some studying, but I wasn't going to consider it like school. Or to me, it wasn't like school. So I went to college, played. I did well because I'm not going to waste my time. If that's what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do. And I was a good athlete. I could play. And so my plan was when I got out of college, I'm taking meteorology in college. I'm going to get out, graduate, go into the Marines as an officer and fly jets. And then when my senior year came, they're talking about drafting and whatnot. I come back home from college and I can't find my family. They're homeless. So my mother, again, we need a place to stay. We need you to go and play professional football so you can buy us a house. So that's why I went and played professional football to buy a house for my parents. Then maybe about 3 or 4 years into my professional career at New England, Chris Collingsworth, you know who Chris Collingsworth is, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah. He's doing a game and he's commentating on the game. And obviously I'm playing in the game. And he said something to the likes of the fact that I was a first round bust and I was only going to last 7 years in the league. And yes, he pissed me off.
Oh, yeah.
And I played 17 years pissed off, proving him. No, seriously, this is for real. I played the rest of my years pissed off at Chris Collinsworth because he lied on me. He didn't know me.
Right.
He's giving an opinion, and people are believing him because he was a former player, and he's this guy that supposedly knows what he's talking about, and he's this analyst. So people believe what he said, and I had to go prove him wrong and prove all the people who believed him that they were wrong too.
Since you've been in retirement, have you had a chance to front him out on that?
No, I don't speak. I said something to him. I said something to him back during the time when I was playing because I believe he came to New England to do an interview with me, and I would not talk to him.
Yeah, man. You tell him, put some respect on my name, no doubt about it.
I feel you playing with that chip, man. We were teammates for about 5 minutes down in Miami in '94.
It was longer than 5 minutes, Jimmy. Come on.
Well, I mean, I first of all, I was pissed because I wore 13 in college. When I got down to the Dolphins, some guy named Marino had it. So
yeah, you weren't going to get that, my friend. No, you can forget all about that.
So they had Marino, they had Kozar, they had Doug Peterson, Kelly Stouffer, and to your point, man, talking about being pissed off. So I was so naive, a D3 guy. We talked about this on the course. I was sitting in between Marino and Kozar, and the Reaper finds me. And just like you see on Hard Knocks, it's, hey, coach wants to see and bring your playbook.
And bring your playbook.
Man, and then it hit me. Like, I had to stare at the ground. I was ready to start crying. And then I'm sitting across from Don Shula, and he looks at me and he says, do you have a plan? Backup plan. I said, yeah, I'm going to be a teacher and a coach. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, good. He goes, because I just don't think you're good enough to play in this league.
Wow.
Crushed, pissed. I played pissed off too, is my point. I didn't play as long as you did. I payed 10 years, 13 seasons. Not on the NFL,
that's
but
good though.
I played pissed off.
That's right.
I need it. Your Collinsworth is my Shula.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that would have pissed me off too.
Oh, it crushed me, man. I'm coming off like, I think I'm pretty good. D3 player of the year. Got voted the top quarterback in the state of Ohio, all divisions. And but
wow. But Shula was tough though too, man. He was old school. He was an old, God rest his soul, he was an old school coach, man. Here's one of the things that I don't know if you ever, I guess you weren't there long enough, Jimmy, but this is one of the things that I recognized my first year down in Miami. We're doing the Miami Dolphins always would do well coaching under the coaching of Shula during the beginning of the season, because when the start of the season is during the heat of the year. It's hot. It's August. It's September. So the whole country's dealing with heat. Obviously, we're dealing with real heat down there in South Florida. Now, as the season goes on, when you get up northeast and out west, things start cooling down. It stays hot down in Florida. Now, other teams start backing off in terms of how much time they spend on the field and practice. Shula would not back off on us. And I remember one game about maybe 15 games into the season, 14 games into the season, I'm in a game and I went to shift gears and I had nothing. I couldn't shift because I left it all on the practice field. We were practicing. We kept practicing in the heat, and it eventually it was to our advantage at the beginning of the season. But as the season went on, it led to being our disadvantage because it wore on us. It wore on us. And he would not understand that and did not understand that. And that's why the team would taper most years at the end of the year. My second year in the league, I believe it was the second year with Miami. We were 9-2 after 11 games. Best record in the NFL. We didn't win another game the rest of the season and didn't make it to the playoffs.
Man.
That was what your first year in Miami was. My rookie year. Was that 94 when you were in Miami?
My first year, either 94 or 93. Yes. I think it was 93. Yeah.
Been your second.
Yeah. So my second year. Yeah. So, and that was because we were worn out. Every time we lost the game, we come back and he practices, run us. And we go out to the game and we had nothing left, nothing to offer.
I had a chance to play in the East-West Shrine game coming out of Ohio State, and they had done throwback coaches before. They just had some assistant coaches that were on teams come up and do it, and we had Don Shula come up, so he brings Schnellenberger, Maurice Carton, Monty Clark, all the old boys from the 72 squad, right? And so they come in there, and you know, we had just gotten beat in the national championship game, so I went to burn a little time in Las Vegas to just kind of cool off for a second. So I show up in Houston and I get the playbook, and they got trap in there. I'm thinking, nobody runs trap anymore. Where's these 5 wides, 4 wides? You know, we got to do something different here because these guys are lining up with like 350-pound defensive tackles. Like we ain't trapping that right now. This is not gonna happen, man. We went with the old school playbook, man. But that was fun times, man. Just being able to get around him and get his knowledge and get his feel for the game. Irving FRYAR, man, we appreciate you joining us on the 1372 show, the QB and the OG. We're live here inside of the Cigar Lodge. You know, I was fortunate. My family been fortunate. My dad actually was able to beat Chris Collinsworth in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 16.
Well, till you get to thank you.
He got a chance to snap the ball to Joe Montana. I was fortunate enough. My quarterback Troy Smith won the Heisman Trophy, and I spent some time in training camp with Kurt Warner out in Arizona. I get to work with the quarterback, the Hall of Famer right here.
Yeah.
Talk about that connection. We know wide receivers and quarterbacks. I mean, that connection there. Is there anybody to this day? Is there somebody from your 17 years that you single out and say, this is my dude, man? This is a relationship that will last until the end of our lives. Is there somebody that you still have that with?
Well, I would have to say, and it's not necessarily when it's a quarterback receiver relationship. Let me say it that way. Not necessarily a friend to friend relationship. Not that anybody that I've ever played with, I'm enemies with. They're all cool cats. They're all good cats. Love them all, and would die for them all. But the best quarterback receiver relationship, in my opinion, that I ever had was obviously with Dan. And I'll tell you why that was. Now, when I was at New England, my first 9 years, I told you, when I first got there, I was learning how to be a wide receiver. I just did not know how to be a wide receiver. But the offense, or the offenses that we were running, because we had several head coaches, Ron Myers and Raymond Barry and Rod Rust, and just McPherson, just crazy. It was one after another. It was a bunch of changes in those 9 years. And we ran the ball. We ran an old-fashioned smash mouth type of offense. We did not throw the ball a whole lot. And when a play was called and we came up to the line of scrimmage, if the defense was in a lineup that was going to stop us, well, we just chalked that up as a loss. Jimmy, there was no audibling. We didn't come to the line of scrimmage and change anything. Whatever play we called in the huddle, that's the play we ran.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So I get to Miami.
It's wide open, man.
I get to Miami, and there's Dan's up underneath the center, and he gives me a hand signal, just that quick bang. And it's me and him. It was like playing out in the parking lot, playing out on the school ground.
You can tell the route by his eyes.
It's old school football. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we didn't do this kind of stuff. Change the play. What do you mean? Audible. I didn't get any of that kind of stuff, Jimmy, while I was in New England for 9 years. So can you imagine if I had that in those 9 years, the kind of stuff I had with Dan? Now we get to the first game of the season. I'm with Dan, and we're playing against the New England Patriots.
That wasn't circled on the calendar, was it?
I don't think it was circled on the calendar.
It was on yours.
But I was going to make sure I showed up for that game. At halftime, I hadn't caught a pass. By the time the game was over, I had 3 touchdowns, 5 catches, 211 yards. It's fourth down and 5 yards to go. We're on our own 45. We're too far for a field goal. If we don't get the first down, we don't have any timeouts. Time's going to run out. Game is going to be over. Dan calls a play. There's a trips to the left. I'm single cover to the right, split out. Dan calls a play. The ball's supposed to go to one of the trips on the left. He comes up to the line of scrimmage to see that it's one-on-one with me and the DB and gives me a go. Bang. Snap the ball, throws the go. We win the game. Unbelievable. I was never, ever a part of anything like that. And when we were actually in the game was on the line. Dan would give me his little quick signal, whatever it was that he wanted me to do, whether it was a go, whether it was a hitch, whether it was a slant. And we actually did it and it worked. Man, I was in heaven. I never had a quarterback receiver relationship with like that ever before or ever after that. I mean, we had audibles when I was in Philly. We had audibles when I was in Washington, but it was never like that. It was never like that.
I came out of Mount Union. I came small school, and in '93, Dan had ruptured his Achilles in the Cleveland Browns game.
Right.
So if you remember, in '94, he was rehabbing. So the reason I wore 13 was because of Dan Marino. He was my idol, and I looked up to him, and I just couldn't wait to get down there. I was just blown away watching him work, because you always wonder, why is this guy so good? What makes him, what are the things that you don't see, the work in the dark, as they say.
That's right.
Man, I only got 3 reps of practice, so there was a lot of
watching,
a lot of learning
behind.
Right.
So it was so cool for me to be able to see you guys work and to see all the little detail stuff that went into that, just to be able to look out, give a quick signal, and be able to execute that with an experienced wide receiver. He was so good.
Right. And it happened like
instant.
this. It happened like this. You had to, there wasn't time to think about it. Bang. It just happened. He come up, bang, and we're gone. Run it. Let's go. And that's what I loved about it. You didn't have time to think about it. Just be an athlete and make it happen.
All right. Hey, Irv, we're not going to keep you too much longer, man, because I know we've had you here. We'd love to keep you all night, man. We could shoot football with you all night, man.
I'm kind of
again if you want.
I'm kind of jealous because you guys are in a cigar bar and I'm not there.
Listen, get to Canton. I got your back.
Yeah, I see the cigar boxes back there, the lockers and all, man. You got the TV screen back there.
They got a golf simulator. They got massage chairs.
What?
Oh yeah,
man! They got a whole wall of bourbons and tequilas. They got everything here at the Cigar Lodge, man. I just lit up a fine Cohiba.
I gotta get up there, man. Yeah,
we're living good right now, man. We want to get a couple things for you, man, right before you leave. And I knew I had to bring something special on here for you, man. I'm throwing this way back here now. All right, we're going. I think we're going back to '83.
No, I know what that is. Don't even show it. I know.
You was MVP of that game, weren't you?
Okay, yes, I was. Do I have the I thought the trophy was in here. No, the trophy's downstairs.
That's a throwback.
So
I was gonna show the trophy for that.
Up until that point, had you ever been out of the country before?
Oh heck no.
So
before I went to Nebraska, I had never been on a plane before.
so my dad had played in the game back in '78. And he had never been out of the country before. And he said, man, you're over at Rickshaw's. He said, the ladies was great. It was a great nightlife. Talk about that experience going over there and kind of parlay that on to being drafted #1 overall. I mean, did that performance in the Japan Bowl, did that solidify it, do you think, for you with the teams taking you with going #1? I mean, just that experience playing in that game and hitting that competition.
Well, you know what? It may have had something to do with it. Now, there was something special about the bowl games that I played in. Mike Rozier and myself played in, because Turner Gill was our quarterback. He was a senior graduating with us. And all of us were invited to the same All-Star games except for Turner. Turner wasn't invited to the Hula Bowl. Mike Rozier and I were invited to the Hula Bowl, but we were also invited to the Japan Bowl. So we went to the Japan Bowl because Turner was in the Japan Bowl, and he didn't get invited to the Hula Bowl, so we didn't go to the Hula Bowl. And then that was an advantage for me because Turner was the quarterback in the Japan Bowl. So I had my cat throwing the ball to me. I don't know if that had, any influence or made a difference in the fact that I was selected as the number 1 pick. Maybe it could have. I'm sure there were some people who were watching that were, scouts for teams in the NFL. I'm not sure. But I did have a good game. And I do remember that experience there, man. You know what? My roommate, his name was Anthony Steele. My senior year, he was actually played the same position as I did, but he was 2 years older than me. But he still remained at the university or in Lincoln, Nebraska after he graduated. And Anthony and I were roommates my senior year in college. The young lady that he was dating was sisters. You remember this girl? Her name was Shelly Smith, the reporter.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Shelly.
Yes, man.
She was a reporter in Japan at the time. And so she came and she reported, did an interview with me and Mike. And then she took us out on the night, and we had sake and went to the clubs and all that kind of stuff. So my experience with Japan, as far as being out in the social life, was Mike and I went out with Shelly Smith at that time. She was out there doing her thing in Japan. And obviously we know how her career turned out. She's been very good with ESPN.
They need to bring that back, man. I mean, Mobile, Houston, Hawaii, Tokyo. I mean, I think you get a lot more interest if you do something like that.
Well, that was fun. I had never been out of the country before. That was a long ride. We were on a nice plane. I'd never been on a plane like that. One of those 2-decker planes in the front where you go upstairs. That's where our seats were on the top.
Was that the Pan Am deal with like the girls in the blue suits and all that stuff?
I think so. It was really nice though. Yeah, it was really nice.
All right. So before we get you out of here, Jim told me you got some stuff that you do. I see you got your setup over there. Tell us where people can find you at, what you have going on with your own pod and what you're doing.
Well, I mean, the main place I would like people to check me out is at the FRYAR place on YouTube. We'll be on tomorrow. We're live every Friday Eastern Standard Time at 12 p.m. or 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Every Friday we're live at the FRYAR place on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and search the FRYAR place, FRYAR. ER is a chicken, FRYAR. Search the FRYAR place and subscribe. That's the main place. I mean, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Dr. FRYAR at Dr. Irving FRYAR. I'm sorry, on either Instagram or Facebook. But I'm mainly trying to tout my podcast. And
what's the main theme, man? What you're doing over there?
Well, we're doing some of everything. Right now, I'm in the middle of a series entitled Black Quarterbacks in the NFL. 2 weeks ago, I had Doug Williams on. He was a great interview. Last week, Rodney Peete was on. Oh, he was fantastic. This week, we're going to have Randall Cunningham, and then we're going to tighten it up from there and move on. But I've had, I've done a daddy-daughter show with me and my daughter. We talked about, I've been through a divorce and the things that have happened in our family. That was really intense.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's therapy right there.
Yeah. I've done a show with a financial expert, a guy named Mario Henry, who played in the league at with the New England Patriots. He's a financial expert now down in Houston. I've had him on to create some financial literacy for some of our listeners. I've had a therapist on. Her name is Tanya Tinsley. She wrote a book called The Four Quarters. She takes psychology and spirituality and mixes them together to create a better life for people. So I've had a little bit of everything. And I'm trying to be well-rounded to create, something for everybody, in all genres, age groups, all of that. Not just sports. I mean, I've had Sterling Sharp on. Sterling was phenomenal. Yes. I've had the Marx brothers on, Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. I've had Tony Collins on from the New England Patriots. I've had Ricky Simmons on from my from my college teammate, Ricky Simmons. He was a wide receiver at the University of Nebraska. So I've had a numerous amount of people on in terms of sports, but I'm also trying to do other things where I'm not just attracting or trying to attract people who are watching sports. But
Hey, I see the background, man. You're a Renaissance man. You got the Qs represented back there. You got the
oh,
cross.
well,
You got
well
you got
yeah,
it all,
I am
man.
a Q. I am
Yeah,
a Q.
man.
What do you know
We
about the
gotta-
Qs, man?
I've stomped with some of my boys before, man. I get
Let me-
down.
Let me see if I can. I don't want to start this music. I got music in the back, but that's my setup right there.
There it is, man.
Right
I love
out.
it.
So you can see you guys right there.
I love it, man. Hey, we really appreciate you joining us, Irvin, man. I apologize about being a little late, man, but we love all the content that you gave us tonight, man.
One last
Always a
question.
pleasure.
One last question. It is Thursday night football. Who's playing tonight, TJ?
Oh God.
Oh, that team, the New England Patriots, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
And the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. Come on.
Throw me prediction for tonight's game.
New England, man. I really like, and they're really getting better every week. They're starting to put it together. You're starting to see the confidence in Mac Jones and how he's running that team and being the leader of that team. And the defense for New England is a Belichick defense. Those cats are starting to understand the concept of what Belichick is trying to do. I mean, the way they confused, who was it, Herbert a few weeks ago.
They
just
came up
jacked
into
him
Cleveland and whooped Cleveland's ass.
Yeah. So and Atlanta, Atlanta's just been they've been horrible.
You never know what team you're going to get. And
Yeah.
you're right, Irving.
They've been horrible.
We talked about that, when we spoke the other day. New England's won 4 games in a row.
Right.
And
right.
Mac Jones right now is playing himself into, looking like the best rookie quarterback that was taken in the first round. He's
Right.
playing outstanding. And,
Exactly.
but it does take a Canton guy to get that New England offense
Josh
going. And
McGee, baby.
Josh McDaniels. Got to plug Canton there a little bit, Irv. You know how we do.
Boy.
Northeast Ohio.
Okay, Northeast Ohio. But my if I had to choose a team tonight, my pick would be obviously New England. I just don't think Atlanta, has enough to stand up to the momentum that New England has right now. I think it's just enough to pull them through this game.
I agree. Peach?
Only 4 receivers ever to be taken #1 overall in the NFL draft. You, Keyshawn Johnson, a couple other cats back in the day. They're all quarterbacks that are coming out now, man. It's a quarterback thing, right? I mean,
Well, obviously I was born too young. Born too soon. I'm sorry. I'm not born too young. No, none of us are born too young, but I was born too soon. Obviously, I was born too soon, way too soon, about 20 years too soon.
yeah. And in regards to that paycheck, man, I'll tell you what my dad always told me. He said, man, I came out in the second round. He goes, I got like 82 grand. He goes, I'd have got like 3-4 million where I came out now.
Hello.
League minimum
Yeah,
is
man.
680 now,
Yeah,
isn't it? Or 580?
Yeah. What, the
Guys,
minimum?
Yeah. It's what, 680, I think?
What
600?
yeah,
The
is that
rookie-
for
the rookie
the rookie
minimum.
minimum. Yeah, the rookie minimum is like 680. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm.
I mean, can you imagine cats, they're getting 15, 20, 25, $30 million a year.
Mahomes is making 50.
A year. A
10
year.
years, 500 million.
I came in there and I seen Larry Fitzgerald, Naquan Bolden, they're getting that type of deal. And I looked at my check, it was like 298 grand, take taxes, $191.
Yeah.
Damn, I got a lot of work left to do, man. I didn't get
Yeah.
it done, man. But we appreciate you getting it done for us tonight, man. Join us on the 1372 show.
My
You being the
pleasure,
OG.
guys.
And now we
All
got
right.
Irvin Fryer, man. Appreciate it, my man.
No
Appreciate
problem,
your time,
OG.
Irv.
All
We'll
right,
speak
Jimmy.
soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right,
Thanks a lot.
Yep,
Appreciate
easy,
you.
man.